Hello everyone, my name's No. We're back with everyone 2018 career mode here for the eighth round of the season for the French Grand Prix at the circuit at the Paul Ricard. There's going to be heavy rain throughout the races. That's going to be something interesting right there. We don't bring any upgrades, we just bring the reliability one. If you saw last episode, you know that we upgraded the ICE because it wasn't reliable enough to continue through the rest of the season. Before we get into the qualifying, we're just going to be redeveloping an aero development. That's the last thing we're going to be doing before qualifying. Let's get to qualifying and see how we do. Yes!
The circuit has rubbed it in with practice, but this is still a difficult session as our drivers fight for pole position. Welcome to qualifying.
Thank you for the introduction, Crofty. Coming into Q1, we're going to be waiting it out. There's no rain for qualifying. It's all supposed to be clear throughout qualifying, and then of course rain in the race. Q1 time will go out on the softest tire car, which pretty much everyone else. It looks like Bottas and Raikkonen, the two Finns, trying to get through on the super soft tires. At the moment, they're in 15th. And 9th place now, so they're good to go for the go right now. The first lap here, it was okay, you know. I hadn't tried I hadn't done the qualifying program, I think, so it was first time that I was really out feeling the tires and the full kind of engine mode, the full lightweight body. And the full engine mode and the full new tires. On first lap right there, actually we go fastest in the first qualifying session. A ginormous surprise, and also I think really much to me. So does this mean that we'll be in contention for pole finally after 8 rounds in the Mercedes? We don't know. Of course, there's inconsistencies with these qualifying times. A lot of inconsistencies we've seen before. Sometimes they're way faster than other times. Sometimes they're way slower. Q2 time. This is just important. We don't try to make it through on the super soft tires, even though we had great pace on them in the first one. I don't know why. It's just not really become the thing, because you know, super soft tires inside of the top 10. I think it's way too overpowered in this game. It's way too overpowered to get through on the super soft tires into the top 10. I know it's better for us, but you know, sometimes some things are just way too overpowered. This lap in Q2 was okay. You saw right there, just a mistake in the last corner where I kind of lucked up, which meant we get kind of a bad exit. It's just 1/10 slower than the lap we did in Q1. We're in 5th at the moment, and as the session comes to an end, we drop down to 11th place. And that means that we're out of qualifying 2. Disappointing, very, very disappointing. Fastest in Q1, and we just did not manage to challenge in Q2. So that probably means that we'll have that stupid Q3 glitch. Sometimes this game really pisses me off, because now we'll have the Q3 glitch. Valtteri Bottas will probably set pole, at least gets out of the top 10 or top 5, top 3 or something, which is not a place for our car. Pole position. We haven't had pole position in this car this season yet, but and you know, sometimes I say to this game, come on. But you know what, sir, it's race time. It's heavy rain conditions here at the Leclerc place, circuit Paul Ricard. Haven't raced here since the 1990s. The track has been all resurfaced and stuff like that, and now here we are again, new for the 2018 season. Circuit Paul Ricard, 5.8 kilometers in length, 2 long straights. You have the first, you have the Mistral straight, that's the chicane, with the chicane, and the start-finish straight with DRS as well. The circuit has 14 corners, 14 front corners, a lot of high downforce corners, not the most elevation change. You can see it's raining all over the grid right now at the moment. Sergio Perez is leading in the driver's standings, right in front of Fernando Alonso. In the constructor standings, you know, we're second after that great result in the last round. Force India is absolutely dominating until now in both championships. Taking a look at the starting grid, of course, Valtteri Bottas takes home pole, is followed up by that Ferrari. You can see the two Force Indias kind of the back right there, not too good for them. We qualified down in 11th place, which means we'll have, it's kind of the optimal place, because we'll have the free tire choice, but then of course it's raining, so we won't benefit from that 11th place at all anyway. So strategy is pretty simple. It's going to be wet tires. Of course, we'll stretch the wet tires until we get onto the intermediates. There's no reason to do 2 stops while there's on wet, and then we'll get onto the slick tires later on in the race. Here we are on the grid. I forgot to turn on the HUD at the start of the race, but that doesn't matter. It's 5 red lights, and we're underway in the rain. The rain comes instantly onto the camera right there. It's a good getaway from us. We can follow up with Esteban Ocon, who gets kind of blocked in right behind his own team. That's Perez getting blocked in behind Ocon. We're going to go for a huge dive down the inside of the McLaren. and the Force India. It's a huge training through the first corner. As you can see, we can't really see a lot of things. We have to be very, very careful about front wing. It could fall off at any moment. If just we touch someone's back, it could fall off right there. We go for a dive down the inside of the Renault. Very, very risky. We'll just have to take as much advantage of these guys training away at the start as possible, because I know whenever it's out of this out of this start, I know that these guys will begin to pick up pace and eventually probably get faster than us. Because if you've seen any other episodes with Rain, I have been the most terrible guy. That's also the one thing with AOR. It's like there hasn't been rain at the moment, which is lucky for me and lucky for a lot of drivers. You can see here we are, still lap 1. We're going to be going 3 wide almost into the chicane. Ricardo trying to come back at us. He tried to come back at us right there. You can see an onboard from him at the same moment. 3 wide into this corner right here. He just goes for the outside, and he kind of has to let that one go. And the McLaren comes alongside, overtaking the Force India comes alongside him and is now challenging for position. So Ricciardo lost out so much for that one right there. Swap it back to reality. You can see we're already losing to the guy in front. We're already beginning to kind of stack up a couple of cars behind us because we're going too slow. And really, I have to be honest, I couldn't find any balance in this setup. That's the one thing that you're looking for, especially when you're raining. Whatever driving style you have, the only thing that you're looking for is balance in the car. And when there's rain, it's extremely much balance, but there was nothing in this car, and it was so hard to drive. I tried, but there was nothing on throttle, nothing when braking, nothing in the corners. And that was really one hard thing to do, and 27 laps with this wasn't going to be too good. So I knew it was going to be drying up, so I kept fighting for it. We were losing speed, a lot of speed. We lost a couple of positions right there before. Now we're back down behind, in front of Fernando Alonso. He's trying to go for the move into the chicane. Right there, and you can see he kind of goes deep into the corner. Gone back for a nice switchback maneuver, and we keep it on the route around the outside. But as I talked about, balance is one of the most important things. If you have an aggressive kind of driving style, if you have a smooth driving style like I do, I mean, balance is everything that you're looking for, because you're coming into this corner right here, get onto the curb right there, and we've thrown it away into the sign. We go, and we go out onto the runoff area, drop down into last place, behind the Williamses. Of all that stuff, that could have been a huge crash if the wall had been a bit closer. You can see we got onto the curb, and the car just went absolutely AWOL. That didn't manage to save it, and we went onto the giant runoff areas. If this had been like Canada or something, where the wall is closer, that would have been terrible. A very, very awesome onboard right here. Managed to capture it. You can see we got onto the curb, took the sign with us. But that is a game changer for us right there. That one has probably cost us the points for this race. That's been right there. You can see, as I talked about balance, there was nothing, and I did manage to save it right there. We have a lot of onboards. I know, I just want the right analyzation for it to be. You can see here we are, slow replay, but you can see right there, get onto the curb, and then I lose it, but I don't realize before here, where I just, of course the conditions are completely different in the rain, so I think I would have saved that one if it was in the dry, because the grip levels is so much different in this game. To be honest, I feel like the rain is way too much of a kind of a. It's more like ice in this game. I know it's like the gaming, but I really I don't like the rain. Maybe it's because I don't have any pace in the right thing. So we get a warning for corner cutting. I try to slow down as much as possible. Here we are, a lap later after that crash. You can see we get a loose as well right there. Another one who doesn't have balance is in his motor, Sergei Sirotkin, who is now out of the race because of an engine issue. It's another free position for us, but very, very unlucky for the very, very bad performing Williams. Swapping back here, you can see now a lot of people is coming into the pits at the same time. These guys are going to compromise their own strategies, each other so much. You can see Valtteri Bottas right there getting held up like at least 4 or 5 seconds inside of the pit. We're around 5 laps behind, so we can pit in whenever we want. You can see we're going to pit in on the same laps as every one of these guys. We won't get held up because we're pretty much cruising around alone down at the back of the grid at the moment. Coming into the pits, we're going to put on the intermediate tires as pretty much everyone else is, as I've just said a couple of times now. Coming into the pits, you can see the green wall tires instead of the blue wall tires right there. Intermediate tires, of course, have a bit more grip, you know, because that also means there's less rain on the track. I like intermediate conditions more than wet conditions because, as I said, wet is harder to drive and there's more rain. And when you don't have balance, I keep talking about fucking balance. Now we have team radio actually coming from Jeff.
You're doing well out there, keep it up. we're looking at about 10 more minutes of rain. 10 minutes. Inters look like the best tyre for now.
Important stuff there from Jeff. Talking about there's around 10 more minutes of rain, which is around... that must be around like 6 or 7 laps of rain yet. So we'll have to do 6 or 7 laps on these tires, maybe 8 or 10 laps before we come into equip. That means that we'll be around halfway through the race, and we'll probably have to go into the soft tires, the hardest tire compound. But at the moment, we're just trying to catch up to the guys in front. See how well we can do with this. I was trying my best. I was keep fighting, but it was just like whenever I calmed down, I drove better whenever I pushed, because of course it's rain. You have to kind of nail the car into the corners, be very, very smooth on strategy. Here as you can see, lap number 12, he asked us about going for 2 intermediate tires, which is a stupid thing. Now we're about where the rain should begin to stop, and you can see it's slowly getting less and less and less right here. The lead at the moment is obeyed by the fin of Kimi Räikkönen in the Ferrari. We're waiting for the first car to pretty much pit in, and that's kind of like the place, the thing whenever you can see there. We decide to come in on lap number 15. At this moment I thought it was good enough, and you can see all other people also thought it was good enough. You can see a lot of people coming in for the soft tires as well as we were supposed to right now. You can see we get hold up by Lance Stroll, the Canadian. I don't know why he was going so slow, but somehow we managed to go around the outside of that corner. It's time to go in for the slick tire compound. You can see Hulkenberg, Ricciardo and Ocon staying out on the intermediate tires. I don't really know why. You have to ask them, even though they're AI, so it's kind of hard. Coming into the equip, the soft tires. We could have gone on to the super soft tires, but I don't know if they would have held the rest of the race. Of course, I don't like very used tires. They're shit as driving in.
We want to finish the race on
maybe not as shit as driving in rainy conditions, but they're not too good. Very used tires. I don't like them. I get way too slow at it whenever that happens. In the lead, ATM is, you can see Sainz and Ricciardo Räikkönen, what am I saying? He's kind of swapping around positions a little bit here and there. As now we've caught up to Brendan Hartley. We went down to last, now we've overtaken Lance Stroll. We're coming up to the back of Brendan Hartley, the Toro Rosso. Of course, these cars are way slower than us. We're the 4th best. These are the 2 worst cars on the grid. So we have to utilize the more power, the more downforce, or the more things we have. And eventually we do, and we managed to get past this guy. Now it's time to see if we can go chase after Grosjean. There's 9 laps remaining. I don't think it's 8 laps, and I don't think we'll be able to get into the points, but we'll be able to get a bit of a better result. I decided to keep fighting. He's now completely dry. The sun is shining down on the right there, and it says that we have a yellow flag, and that is Daniel Ricciardo going slowly down the straight, and I think he has a puncture. We'll have to see on the onboard right there. Yes, it is. I think it is on one of his right. I think it is on the right front tire, if I'm right. And eventually we'll have a virtual safety car out on track for Daniel Ricciardo's puncture. It's not by a lot, just until he gets out of the way and into the pits again. So we have a VSC after, like, I usually think 2 corners, the VSC goes away. So a bit of an unusual kind of thing. We managed to save a little bit of fuel, which is of course positive, but we have 5 laps of the race remaining. The only one we'll be able to overtake is Grosjean. Of course, we've got a free position from Daniel Ricciardo, but here we are getting close to Roman Grosjean. He goes defensive into this corner. We throw a dummy. We go for the move down the inside, run deep into the corner. Might that be the overtake of the season? Lap number 23 out of 27 in the French Grand Prix. So basically here you can see on the onboards, we're looking behind the back, like out of the arse of Roman Grosjean. You see there, we kind of force ourselves through right there. He has to back out of that one because I was like, it's kind of like if you don't avoid me, you'll probably crash out of the way. Kind of like that kind of style of driving style. Lap number 23. With 4 laps remaining, we just have to defend from Roman Grosjean. Of course, we have a much better car than him. The Ferraris and the Haas have begun to catch up in terms of performance lately, because we've been investing in some other stuff than actual upgrades. But you see, basically we're cruising around. We're managing the gap back behind to Roman Grosjean. We're pretty comfortably in this place right here. It's dry, so the chances of us crashing out are very, very small. You can see here we are catching up to Van Dorn, who's going extremely slow for some reason. We're catching up to him so fast. Of course, we have a little bit better car than them, but I didn't expect us to catch up to him so fast and overtake him so easy. Right, you can see we pretty much went for a move around the outside, which eventually turned to inside. So that's kind of a surprise. I don't know if he had front wing damage or something. But I mean, it's another free position right there. You can see now these guys have the DRS. We're actually going to be 3 wide into this corner on board with Roman Grosjean, who eventually gets locked out. He gets past Van Dorn, who I think has a front wing damage, but that was a 3 wide moment. And eventually when Dorn loses out on that one, so not too good for Van Dorn right there. Here you have him, your race winner, and for the first time in his career, for the first time in Formula 1, Carlos Sainz comes over the line in first place to take home 25 points for the Renault team. We're coming around the last corner to claim, I don't know what it's to claim a terrible 14th place here at an absolutely terrible race here in France. The Castellet will be remembered as being such a bad race. Congratulations to Carlos Sainz himself, the Spaniard, taking on his first race win of the season of his career. As I said, Valtteri Bottas managed to finish in 4th place, which means he dropped from pole up to 4th place. So awesome stuff from this awesome race for everyone else than us. We dropped down, we dropped down to 8th place. So sad for us right there. It's like at the moment the championship is so close, so whenever you lose a couple of points, you'll probably drop down by quite a bit. But it's time to negotiate a contract. You can see first time in our contract now. Our value is way higher than our contract at the moment. So you can see why there's, if you just want to freaking change, come on, yes, there you go. You can see our first attempt, we're going a little bit too high, which is also what we're kind of going for. Then we come on to second attempt where we have to kind of lower it, and eventually we do lower it, but not by enough. Then this one is just a small thing. It's way easy to get, but still we don't get it, and that means that the contract stays the same. And that will be everything for this video. I hope you enjoyed this episode of from 2018 career. But remember to like and subscribe and all that shit, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye guys.